will be back. So unless Shellac Rock is on before I go, but I think I've overlapped. If somebody could give me a heads up, that would be fantastic.
What do you need? What do you need, Scribe?
Okay, I was just looking for further instruction. I just got a text from Sam. This is called Adapt and Adjust. This will be playing for about the next hour.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Rome, President of Personality Insights, headquartered out of Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to our presentation today. I am so honored and thrilled that the Jaegers Internet Service Corporation would allow me to be part of this incredible function. So thank you for being part of this. We're going to have an awesome time together. I'm very, very excited. Some of you have heard me speak before, and some of you, this is the very first time. In either case, we have some special things planned for you today. You already have a handout. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. But before we start, I want to remind you of what we're doing today. I don't want to do something to you. I want to do something for you. I want you to, first of all, learn the ultimate discovery system. Before we even start, I'm going to take just a minute to share with you the ultimate discovery system. And here's what it is. It has 4 steps. Step number 1, learn to understand yourself. How are you wired? How do you see life? How do you process information? We're going to be teaching you that today. So if you don't know yet, you'll find out as we go through the material today. Step number 1, learn about you. Step number 2, learn about others. We all meet 15, 20, 25 people a day that we interact with. Whether it maybe is in a restaurant or in our family or places that we go, we interact with different people. So again, let's start and remember step 1. What's my style? How do I see things? Step number 2, who am I talking to right now? And the reason I'm moving my finger around is because all during the day, you'll be interacting with different people. Step number 3 in the ultimate discovery system, and this is the payoff, learn to adapt and adjust yourself. Watch carefully. How can I adapt myself to better connect with you? How can I fix me, as we say down south? How can I adapt and adjust myself in order to connect better with other people? Let's review the first 3 steps. Understand myself, understand another person, adapt myself to them, connect to them in a way they can receive and connect with me by the way I'm talking to them, by the way I'm interacting with them. And then step number 4 is the easiest one of all. You just take this with you everywhere you go. So if you don't mind, just interact with me a little bit there, wherever you are. Hold your finger up like this. Step number 1, it starts with you. Understand yourself. Step number 2, point around because you'll be dealing with different people all during the day. Step number 3, back to you to adapt. Notice how I'm kind of making a loop because it has to go through me. Who am I speaking to right now? Should I be talking loud or should I be talking soft? We're going to teach you that in just a minute. Am I more focused on getting something done or am I more focused on just enjoying the relationship? We'll talk to you. I have to adjust myself. This is so important. Most people don't realize that the key to life is not fixing everybody around them. I know what you're thinking. I'd like to fix everybody. So would I. The problem is it just doesn't work. We've all tried it. We've tried to fix our husband, our wife, our mom, our dad, our kids. We've tried to fix people. And we had good motives because we just wanted to help them or make things better. The only problem with it doesn't work. Think about it. Who have you ever fixed in your life to make them just like you want them? If that's ever happened, you probably realize now is a big mistake. But I have learned, and it took me a long time, when I start fixing me and adapting and adjusting myself, depending on who I'm talking with, everything gets better. So again, quick review. Hold your finger up. Starts with you, step 1. Step 2, other people. Step 3, adapt, adjust. Fix yourself, adapt, adjust, Fix yourself as you're dealing with other people. You say, how long do I have to do this? Until you go to bed at night. When you go to sleep, the last thing you can do is say, I am going to sleep. And then you're finished. But the next morning, you have to start right back up. And step number 4, you just take this with you everywhere you go. Quick story, and I'll show you how important this is. My wife, she's the sweetest girl in the world. But she likes me to talk soft, not loud, kind of like I'm doing right now. And she's very, very relational. So watch carefully. I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, what's my style? My style's loud and fast. What's her style? Who am I? I'm talking to her. Her style is slow and soft. So then I have to go to step 3, fix myself, adapt myself, adjust myself. So I say to her, good morning, sweetheart. How are you feeling today? You're so pretty. I love seeing you the first thing in the morning. It makes my eyes happy to see you. See what I'm doing? I'm adapting myself to her. I'm fixing me to connect with her. How do you think this would make her feel if I woke up and said, hey, could you go make us some breakfast? Hurry up. Then I promise you it's going to be a bad day, because I am getting off on the wrong foot. I'm speaking to her incorrectly. It's not about a task. Good morning, could you go make some coffee? That always has to happen second. But I hope you get this, even before we start today, start realizing the success key to your life is something you have complete control over, and it's called you. It's called yourself. One more time, and then we're ready to start. The 4 steps, you ready? Step 1, understand yourself. Step 2, who am I talking to right now? Step 3, adapt to them, adjust to them, connect with them. And step 4, take this with you everywhere you go. That's the ultimate discovery system. I even have it on my shirt right now. It reminds me, the ultimate discovery system. It works. I've been using this for years in marriage, in raising children, in interacting with business. If you'll focus on how can I fix me to better connect with other people, everything goes better. Your sales go up, your connections go up, your interactions with other people go up, because you're connecting with them in a way that feels good to them. Let's jump right in. We're just warming up. We're going to have a great time together. If you'll notice on the next slide, this is what we're talking about today: how to build a stronger team using DISC. You might say, I don't know what DISC is. You will in a few minutes. It also says promoting events with DISC. Notice I've specifically chosen the word events, and here's why. You are going to have events every day of your life. You're at an event right now, but when you're having a meal, that's an event. When you're showing the plan, that's an event. When you're talking on the phone, that's an event. When you're talking to your children and guiding them, training them, coaching them, that's an event. When you have a date with your husband or wife and you're spending time, that's an event. The best way to connect at any event is by understanding other people. You have a handout there that we've given you. I'm going to show you how to follow along as we look at it together. Notice on the first page, we're going to look at this in quadrants. You'll see what I mean in just a minute as we go through the page. Find the page 1 there in your notes, and it says promoting events to the D style, which is also known as the dominant style. Notice there's 2 main characteristics about this person. They're outgoing, it's on the top of your sheet, and on the left side it says they're task, meaning they're task oriented. In other words, outgoing, task oriented individuals are more dominant. We're going to be talking about that and helping you understand. As a matter of fact, quick story, this is how I got interested in personality information 35 years ago. It was 1985. I was living in Dallas, Texas. My oldest daughter, Rachel, was 12 years old. She was a handful. A friend of mine was passing through town. After dinner one night, he said to me, we were sitting on the back porch, he said, what's wrong with you? He could tell I was just down a little bit. I said, it's Rachel. He said, what has she done? I said, I don't know. Have you ever had a problem and you didn't know what your problem was? That's your biggest problem of all. And I didn't really know. And he said, have you ever given her a personality profile assessment? I didn't know what that was. I'd never heard of DISC. I'd never heard of any of this. So Rachel was next door playing basketball after dinner, and when she came home, he gave her an assessment, sort of like the one I'm going to give you today as we do this together, as we look at the model of human behavior. And he found out she was more outgoing, like it says here on this slide, this frame, and she's more task-oriented. He gave her the assessment. He said, wow, after she left, he told me, he said, he coached me. He said, she's a real high D. I said, what does that mean? He said, dominant type. You know, dogmatic, domineering, driving, demanding, determined, decisive, dictatorial, defiant, doer. I said, yeah, how'd you know that? He said, because that's the way she is wired. This is amazing. I had spent 12 years with her. He had spent 12 minutes with her. And he understood her better than I did. Boy, that got my attention. I said, how do you know this stuff? How are you able to explain that to me? There's an old Chinese proverb that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And he was sitting there on my back porch. He spent the next 2 hours coaching me on how to connect better with my daughter. You see, I was just speaking to her. I only knew one thing. How do I see things? And that's the way I see things, and that must be the right way. Boy, I didn't understand very much. I'm so grateful that I've had these opportunities to learn and grow and to process and to share this wonderful, wonderful information. Listen, I've traveled all over the world. I've been on 6 different continents with the Yeagers. Incredible people. They are some of the finest, most wonderful people. 6 different continents. I've been around the world with them. I have a World Series ring that I got from working with the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball team. I've graduated from 5 different colleges. Nothing that I've ever learned in my life, other than my spiritual beliefs, are more important than this information that I'm sharing with you right now, because it's the way we act and interact with other people. Notice on the sheet here, this is Rachel. This is how I learned this information. This is the question I'm asked more than any other one, is how did you get started? It was because of my own daughter, my oldest daughter, that I wanted to connect with. Let's look at the D type. How to relate best to someone who's primarily the dominant style. They want to know what. You will hear them like, what's the bottom line here? What are we trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? If they are interested, they will challenge you. If you're showing the plan or you're talking to someone and they say things like, oh, brother, well, you know, what are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me that this is some kind of situation? When they are engaging with you, because they come across loud and sometimes pushy and sometimes a little bossy, that's because they're interested. If they want you, this is what they want. Just be direct. Cut to the chase. Get to the bottom line. What are you trying? Quit circling. Land. See, that's the way they feel and think about life, because they will decide quickly. They tend to be very quick in the way they make decisions. So you have to be quick when you're talking to them. You can say something like, listen, I just want to share with you something. It won't take long. I want to show you something. Present the plan and make sure you're quick, bottom line, cut to the chase, make things happen. That's the way you begin to start the process of connecting with the dominant type. In the top right hand, actually, one more thing. Promoting events to the dominant style. How to relate best to someone. It's right there on your sheet for you. They want to be in control. They will only decide to move forward if it helps their success. See, communicate. I'm trying to help you be successful. Their main motivation will probably be to solve some sort of problem or achieve some sort of goal. Help them see how taking the next step is part of the solution. That's why we have this sheet for you. This is going to become your practice sheet for you to study and learn how to connect with each of the types, as we've started with the dominant type. Go to the top right-hand side of your sheet and you'll see promoting events to the I style. The I style is called the inspiring style. That's sort of more of my style. Now, everybody has some of all 4 of these we're going to take a look at. How to relate best to someone who's primarily the inspiring style. They want to know who all's going, who will be there, who will I see, who will see me. They kind of like themselves a lot. Oh, what a wonderful world this would be if everybody in the world were just like me. If they're really interested, they'll tell you how they feel. Notice the word feel. The left side, the dominant type on your sheet there, they tend to think more. The inspiring style on the right side, they tend to feel a little bit more. They will say things like, I don't want you to hurt my feelings, or I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They want you to be excited. They want you to be upbeat, positive. Look for the good, the pure, and the positive and everything. Show some enthusiasm. Be excited about life. And when you're talking to them, realize they will decide emotionally. So you have to communicate with them. Once you recognize, okay, you understand your style, and then you understand their style, then you can begin to adapt yourself and say things like this. I'm so excited to get to talk to you today. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I'm really excited about getting to know you a little better. I'm a little excited. I'm very excited about the opportunity that we have to perhaps even build and grow in this organization together. We have incredible people that we meet, places we go, things that we've seen, stories that we hear. It's just a great, great opportunity, and I'm so glad you're going to be doing this with me. See what I'm doing? I'm communicating to them. And I wouldn't say that to the first type, the dominant type. They're not real touchy-feely. You want to focus the dominant type more. Let me show you how this is going to bring success into your life. Let me share with you how the bottom line is something that you can achieve yourself, because this is something you own. This is yours. That's the dominant type. The inspiring type, I'm so glad. Listen, next time we have an event, I want to sit beside you. I can just feel the energy coming off of you. You're an excited person. I love being around people who are positive and enthusiastic. See what I'm doing? I'm speaking in a way that they can understand, a way they can relate to. Notice what else it says on the inspiring type. And we're on the right-hand side now, top of the page. Their priority of people means that they want to feel good about you and the people you are associated with. Be excited with them about other people who will be there and about all the fun you will have together. Key word. Emphasize important people to whom you can introduce them. They want to be part of something exciting and fun. If you know someone perhaps who's been in the business maybe a little bit longer than you, or your upline, or someone that you know that would have a good, strong, positive influence on them, it's certainly great to say, oh, I've met some wonderful people who have helped me a lot, and you're going to meet some great people too. If they're in your organization and you're able to introduce them to your diamond, or someone that is in your upline that's in that same line of sponsorship, and you can, that's just the icing on the cake, because they want to feel, don't miss the word, they want to feel important. They love being around important people. That's what you want to make them do. You want to communicate that you're special. I'm glad you're part of the group. You want to give them recognition, anything that you can do to bring them to a place of feeling like you like them, you care about them, and they're important. Now, on your second sheet of paper, go to the second sheet. Some of you may have printed this front and back. If you did, I would suggest you do it in a way that you just flip the paper over, just like I've got my sheets here, or you can go to the second sheet if you printed it separately. The second sheet, we're in the bottom right, or we're on the right side. Notice the bottom of the page, it says reserved. Notice all of a sudden, I've started speaking softer. I've started slowing down, because now we're on a different type personality. This is the one that is the supportive type, promoting events to the S, supportive style. How to relate best to someone who's primarily the supportive style? Notice, they want to know how. How can I help you? How can I serve you? How do you want me to do this? How does this need to be done? They love to think in terms of how they can help. If they are interested, they will take their time. Don't expect them to be fired up and excited. Give them time to feel safe with you. I'm married to this style. I recognize it very well. Calm down. See, what I'm doing right now is hard for me, because I'm having to say, who am I speaking to right now? This is a wonderful business. It's like a family. We do things together. I love this organization. I hope you're getting this. I'm modeling the way I communicate to this personality style. My third daughter, Elizabeth, has this style. You know what's really funny? Quick story. My oldest daughter, Rachel, I've already mentioned her, real high D dominant. When I started teaching her how to drive when she was 16, it was like she just knew how. We got on the highway, she took off. I was amazed. I thought, how do you know how to do this? She said, oh, it's not that hard. She just started driving the car. She took off. It was amazing to me how well she knew how to drive. A few years later, my second daughter, who's an I-type, she's laughing and having, she just took off as well. Now, she did have 2 accidents the first week because the light turned green and she would hit the car in front of us. I said, wait, you have to wait until they move. She said, well, the light turned green. I thought we were supposed to go. You are supposed to go when the light turns green. However, you need to wait till the car in front of you moves along too. That makes it a lot better, and you don't. Fortunately, there's not a lot of damage, and she was able to talk her way out of both of them. When I said she's learning how to drive, it's just a light tap, a light bump, but she learned you've got to wait till the car actually moves before you go ahead when the light turns green. Anyway, my first 2 daughters, they are just born drivers. They know how to get in the car. We took off. Everything's fine. Daughter number 3, Elizabeth, comes along. This is her style. I forgot to adapt me. I'll show you how dangerous this is. I did not adjust to her style. It was like, well, I've taught daughter number 1 how to drive. It's not that hard. I taught daughter number 2 how to drive. It's not that hard. Just get in the car and take off. And I didn't stop to do exactly what I'm teaching you with the ultimate discovery system. Remember, step 1 is, what's my style? Step 2 is, who am I talking to right now? I didn't do the ultimate discovery system, and I didn't think, I'm talking to Elizabeth. She's very reserved. She's slower paced. She gets her feelings hurt a little bit easier than my older 2 daughters. I didn't think of any of that. All I did was get on the highway and take off. We're on Interstate 75 in Atlanta, Georgia, driving down the interstate going 20 miles an hour. I said, Elizabeth, mash the gas. I thought one of these 18-wheelers was going to hit us. I said, mash the gas. Mash the gas. We're going to get killed. Mash the gas. She looked at me and said, if you're going to yell at me, I'm not going to do this. I thought, oh, we're going to die right here on the highway. We got to the next exit. I grabbed the wheel. I said, let's just exit. Let's just exit right here. And then I said to myself, have you lost your mind? You don't teach a supportive type. You don't teach an S-type to drive on an interstate highway. You teach them to drive in a parking lot somewhere, or better yet, a graveyard. That's a wonderful place. There's not a lot of traffic out in cemeteries. You can just drive around in those and teach them how to drive. They're wonderful. But you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to model what I'm sharing with you. Is, if you'll notice, they want to know how. If they're interested in the business, if they're interested in connecting with you, they'll take their time. They want you to be sincere. Show that you really care. It's sometimes challenging for you to calm down and make sure you're connecting them, because they will decide slowly. They want to take their time, and they want you to be sincere as you're showing interest in them. Notice what it says on your sheet. They want predictability, and they will need reassurance that the seminar will be a good experience. Anything that a seminar, an open meeting, anytime you're connecting with them, let them know about others they know who will be there. If they know a friend or someone that they know, emphasize the friendly, comfortable atmosphere. Let them know about past experiences and how helpful it was to you and others. In a word, you want them to feel, I know you know the word, safe. You want them to feel like they're in a good place, and that they're with you, and there's not going to be any surprises. Listen, the most important thing I've ever learned about this style, they do not like conflict. Conflict shuts them down. And if there's going to be a lot of arguing and a lot of backbiting and a lot of confusion, boy, they are gone. They don't like that. And you have to make sure as their leader or working. And again, we're not just talking, I think you know this, we're not just talking about events as in like the event that we're in right now, but in every event in life. Life is just a series of presentations. Life is a series of events. We're constantly presenting to our husband, our wife, our kids, our co-workers, our people who are in our organizations and groups. We're constantly doing presentations. We're constantly having events. We go out to eat. Going to a restaurant's an event. Going to a movie is an event. Coming to a function is an event. Life is presentations. Life are events. And if you're going to connect with people, especially this type, you need to do it in a way that's calming, reassuring. Remember, they're reserved, and they're more people-oriented. Then, if you would, we're going to go to the left side. So we've kind of done this in clockwise order. We're on the reserved side of the paper, and on the left side, reserved in the bottom, left side task. And this is called the C, or the cautious type. How to relate best to someone who is primarily the cautious style. They want to know why. Why are we doing this? Why did I come to this meeting? Why are you explaining this to me? Why is their constant word on their mind. That's why they usually make excellent pilots and lawyers, dentists, physicians. They're real good in school. As a matter of fact, school was primarily designed for this personality. They love to study and think and raise their hand and ask questions and read and process, because that's the way they're wired. They want to know why. That's the big question on their mind. If they are interested in connecting with you or in the business or in any endeavor in life, they'll ask questions. I'm so glad I know that now. Years ago, I did not understand. I have to tell you something. This was the hardest style for me to learn. And there will usually be one out of these four that's very hard for you to connect with. This was the one that was hardest for me because I just didn't understand. I thought they were trying to drive me crazy by asking me so many questions. And now I realize I was the one who didn't understand them. See, going back, you can't fix other people. If you want to, be my guest. I have not found it to work very well, but I have found that fixing me is very doable. So when I'm talking to them, I'm thinking they want to know why. If they are really interested, they're going to ask questions. The questions that they come up with are incredible questions that no one can possibly sometimes understand. They ask questions like, why do we park on a driveway and we drive on a parkway? I don't know. I heard one kid came to me, he said, Dr. Rome, have you ever seen a fly land on the ceiling? And I said, yes, I have. He said, well, flies don't fly upside down, do they? And I said, well, no, I don't think so. He said, well, how close does a fly get to the ceiling before it turns over and lands? And while I was thinking about it, he was just warming up by asking. He said, and when they land, is it like this? Or is it like this? And I thought, I've lived my whole life, and I've never even wondered about that. Now, do you know what I find myself doing a lot of the time? Watching flies land on the ceiling, trying to figure it out. I know all of the C's are listening to this thinking, that's a great question. I'm going to have to be thinking about that. I think it's like this because it seems like it would. I know. The D's are thinking, just get me a fly swatter. That's what I want. The I's are sitting here thinking, isn't this fun? I'm having such a great time. The S's are thinking, however the fly wants to land is fine with me. I just want the fly to be happy, and I want him to be able to get out of the house safely before anyone hurts him so he can go on and have a good day. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing just listening and following? You're sitting there thinking, this is so true. C's want to know why. If they're really interested, they will ask questions. They want you to be credible. When you say things like money back guarantee or longest business of this type in existence, or having information that can be verified. How about watch this? And I'm going to be going over this with it. It's all on your notes. You'll see it in a minute. We have other people who have spent a lot longer time in this business than us, and they have proven its validity. They can show us how it is reliable and how we can understand correct ways to follow their patterns to build our own business, to achieve our own success, following certain SOP, standard operating procedures. You see, that doesn't interest me at all. That's not my personality, but I know how to speak to those who do. Let me just, I know we have people listening to this both in English and Spanish today. But let's just suppose that, let's say, for example, I spoke English and French, okay? Let's say I spoke English and French, and I started talking to someone in English, and and let's say I can speak both languages in my story, English and French, and then I speak to someone I'm starting to talk to them, and they look at me and shake their head, and they say, "Parlez-vous français? Do you speak French?" And I say, "Oh, oui, oui." And I change, but I thought they could speak English. Turns out that they cannot speak English. They speak French. But if I know that, guess what I can do? I can switch my language to connect with them better, because now I'm speaking their language. That's what a lot of this is like. A lot of this is like learning to adapt and adjust your style. And you will be able to connect with others if you adjust yourself. Notice they want to know why. If they're interested, they're going to ask you lots of questions. Don't be put out. They're not accusing you of not being truthful. They really do want to know. They want you to be credible, because they will decide carefully. Notice their priority for procedures and logic means that they will need good reasons why going to the seminar or going to a training program or going to an event makes sense. Explain the unique aspects of the events and how it can help them learn specific information to address specific concerns they have. They will want to validate your information through someone else. So look for ways to do it. In other words, help them help themselves by getting some good quality answers that they're looking for about this business. So again, before in just a minute, we're going to go back to our D type, because we're looking at all four. Here's what we've learned so far. D's and I's are both outgoing. S's and C's are both reserved. D's and C's are both task-oriented. I's and S's are both people-oriented. So I want you to ask yourself one question, real simple. Am I more outgoing or am I more reserved? You can just answer that right now. I know you have some of both, but which way do you lean most of the time? I know how to be reserved, but most of the time I'm more outgoing. Second question, are you more task-oriented or are you more people-oriented? You say, well, I have some of both. That's true, we do. Which way do you lean most of the time? Most of the time, I love to get things done, but I lean a little more towards making sure that people feel good. So I'm more outgoing and people-oriented. That would put me in the I quadrant, the inspiring type. Hear me well. Everybody has some of all four of these types. And as we go through, we're going to teach you how to connect with all four types. Hopefully by now, you have a general idea that people are different. You have the understanding that some people are dominant, strong, and powerful. Some people are inspiring, fun, and happy. Some people are supportive, loving, and kind, and gentle, want to be helpful. And some people are cautious, wanting to make sure things are done correctly and in a precise manner. Now that you have that basic understanding, on your sheet of paper that we've provided for you, I want to show you specifically how to connect with each of these different types. Now, this is going to take a little bit of practice. That's why we have the sheets for you, so you can review them after this session has ended and learn how to adapt and adjust your style to connect with others. Remember, quick review, it starts first with yourself. Second, who are you talking to? Different people. Third, adapt yourself. Connect with them. It takes a little bit of practice to learn how to do this, like riding a bicycle or walking or feeding yourself or 101 other things that you've learned how to do in your lifetime. Let's take a look. We're back in the D section, which is the first page on the left-hand side. We're in the middle area where it says sample phrases to use to help your organization. These are also sample phrases you can use to connect with anybody who is of the dominant type, whether they're in your family, your husband, wife, parents, children, brothers, sisters, whoever, or in any business endeavor, or in any area of life. Let's take a look. These are the kinds of things you can say. All of the important leaders will be participating. See the key thought there? Important leaders. You will meet people who have developed good business ability. You will learn how to run an effective organization. All of the key leaders should be there. If you want to learn shortcuts to speed up your success, this will put you on the fast track. Learning this information could save you 6 months in reaching your personal and professional goals. What would it be worth to learn from the mistakes of others so you do not have to make all of the same mistakes yourself? And finally, you do not want to miss out. This could be the key to your future success. Hopefully you're catching on to right now. Those are powerful statements, motivating statements for the dominant personality. They don't like to be omitted. They don't like to be left out. They want to be part of the movers and shakers. Those are the kinds of things you will learn to say to them. It'll take a little bit of practice. This isn't rocket science. You can practice it and learn how to use 1 or 2 of those phrases when you're talking to them. This is not about manipulation. This is not about trickery. It's learning to speak to someone in a way that will help you connect better to them. Let's go to the right-hand side of the first page. Let's see the phrases that you would use to help your organization